So, hi there everybody, great to be with you, all. So, let's see, next stream is on Thursday, which will be the 5th of June, and that's at 3:30 p.m. UK time. So, let's see, hi there to Yasmin, hi to Julia, hi to Lando, hi to Manisco, hi to Maurits, hi to Nadia, hi to Ronan, I'm sorry I haven't checked the numbers this morning, hi to Victoria, hi to Yuri, hi to Vitali, hi there Keyword. Okay, so let's get going. Okay, we just start, this is the multiple choice close, and this was about the supposed Hitler diaries that were published in the newspapers, which turned out not to be real. If we look at the previous one, yeah, a German magazine and the Sunday Times made the most extraordinary, and that's the question, what is it? So in fact it was one of the century's most extraordinary cheats, hoaxes, pranks, bluffs, gags, and the scandal that followed cost millions and ruined reputations. So we got hoaxes for Maurits and hoaxes for Vitali. Good afternoon, Firdabs, lovely to see you. Hi Linda, lovely to see you. Hoaxes for Yuri, hoaxes for Julia, hoaxes for Victoria. So let's look at these. We need to juice up. Okay, hoaxes for Ronan. So a gag is like a joke or a sketch on TV. Hi Alex. A bluff is where I say something is true but it's not, and I pretend it's true. But a bluff is more like in poker, yeah, when you're playing card games. A prank is a practical joke. And a cheat is when you use a code with your video game, or you cheat at a game. Extraordinary wool over eyes. So hoaxes for Nadia, hoaxes for Linda as well. So a hoax is when you tell everybody something is real but it's not. So for example, a hoax phone call to the fire brigade to say there's a fire. This is calling wolf. A hoax, a cheat. It's not it's not really a cheat. A cheat is a way to gain advantage. This was a news story that wasn't true. A hoax is a charade. That's quite good, Yuri. I quite like that, charade. Hi Patricia, it's lovely to see you, Patricia. It's about the Sunday Times a number of years ago, a lot of years ago, publishing what they said were the diaries of Adolf Hitler, which turned out to be a hoax. A hoax, bluffs. A bluff is where you say you can do something or you have something when you and you're pretending that you do when you don't. A prank call. A prank call. So let's continue. On 25th of April 1983, the respected German magazine Stern published what they believed to be the most spectacular historical scoop, spoon, ladle, shovel, trowel, the previously unknown private diaries of Adolf Hitler. Hi Ronan, to call somebody's bluff, yeah, come on, prove it's true. It's like the athlete who's boasting about how far he can jump, and somebody says, well look, just jump for us, and like that we'll know it's not a bluff. So Vitali says scoop, so does Ronan. Hi Human, lovely to see you. Human says scoop. Scoop for Victoria, scoop for Patricia, scoop for Firdaz, scoop for Julia, scoop for Maurits. Hi Farouk, scoop for Farouk. Sensation. A scoop. Okay, scoop for Manisco and scoop for Lando. A scoop is a newspaper story that nobody else has. Here, hi Yasmin. Yeah. So a scoop normally, it used to be a newspaper story that you have the exclusive story and nobody else has it. So scoop for Nadia, and this is it. A scoop of ice cream, yes, but a scoop, a media scoop. You have the story and nobody else does. Okay, scoop it out, but this is different. Okay, a journalistic scoop. Hi Ranchodas, lovely to see you. So, a historical scoop. To show out a newspaper story that you only know. It's a good one. Yeah, what does scoop mean, or what's a scoop? Thank you, Alex. Breaking news. Ladle. A ladle's for your soup. Okay, to show out, around, up, off their extraordinary exclusive scoop to the world's press. The Weekly News magazine had arranged a Hamburg press conference for the same day. So off for Vitali, up for Firdavs, off for Maurits, show off for Human, show off for Renyard, show off for Lando, show off for Ronan, show off for Firdavs, show off for Nadia, show off for Victoria, show off for Yasmin, show off for Julia, show out, says Manisco. Okay, to show out is where your bluff is discovered, where your hoax is discovered. Okay, this is to boast about, to let everybody know. Off for Linda. You show somebody around a museum, you show somebody around your house. If you show somebody up, you embarrass them. You show their mistakes. You show people that they're not as smart as they think they are. But to show off, to show off is to let everybody see how brilliant you are. To flex from Firdavs. She showed off her public speaking skill in the meeting. Good, Julia. To show off is to let everybody know quite how brilliant you are. The story would indeed dominate, control, prevail, reign, overshadow global headlines, but not in the way the magazine hoped. Dominate, says Lando. Dominate, says Maurits. Reign, says Nadia. Dominate, says Vitali. Dominate, says Victoria. Dominate, says Julia. Reign, says Yasmin. Dominate, says Renyard. Overshadow, says Manisco. Prevail, says Yuri. Overshadow, says Ronan. Dominate, says Linda. Okay, let's look at first reign. Where are we? Okay, the story would indeed reign over, overshadow other media outlets. That's good, Lando. So to reign over, to prevail over, control definitely not. Let's see. Okay, so where are we? We are exactly here, P. The story would, okay, the word that they used was dominate, but I think overshadow fits as well, to overshadow global headlines. I think it's dominating the headlines, overshadowing the global headlines. It's overshadowing other global headlines. Okay, so to show up for the previous one, yes. Can you overshadow global headlines? Not really, because this was one of the global headlines. To overshadow other things, and that's why to dominate very definitely. Yeah, to overshadow, to cast a shadow over. Overshadow somebody's success. Okay, so a little bit further forward, Patricia. Hi, Anna. To show off is the previous one, yes. Overshadow might fit in the passive. As to be overshadowed by, yes. Three days earlier, Stern's London editor, Peter Wickman, had told BBC News that they were absolutely convinced that they had the valid, legitimate, authentic, reliable, kosher Hitler diaries in their hands. No, it's not over, Patricia. It's to show off. Yeah. Okay, authentic, says Vitali. Authentic, says Julia. Authentic, says Maurice. Authentic for Reynard. Authentic for Nadia. Kosher, says Arna. Reliable, says Yasmin. No, it's not over, Patricia. It's not over. We've just started. Authentic, although I think legitimate might work as well. Valid. Says Firdaz. Authentic, says Manisco. Okay. Reliable is something that never breaks down. My car is reliable. The machine is reliable. Dominate. Correct, Patricia. Pull the forward the video a little bit, Patricia. Legitimate, says Linda. I think legitimate might work as well. I think, okay, the valid diaries. Valid, but no, your credit card is valid. This offer is only valid for a certain period. Kosher. Well, I think kosher works as well, but it's very informal. Yeah, kosher is talking about something that Jewish people can eat. That's good. Yes, thank you, keyword. Yeah, you're behind. Exit and enter the stream again. That's a good suggestion, keyword. Okay, the legitimate Hitler diaries. The original is a good word. I think legitimate works, but I think authentic is a much better word. The authentic Hitler diaries in their hands. Yeah, the authentic ones. Authentic from El Billy. Welcome, El Billy, as well. So, let's continue. We were very questionable, dubious, suspect, fishy, iffy, implausible at the beginning. But we had a graphologist looking at them, and we had an expert who compared the paper. Yes, kosher and Hitler is an interesting juxtaposition. That's another reason why you couldn't use it. Yeah, it just can't be the right word. Although the meaning probably fits. Dubious, says Firdaz. Iffy, says Lando. Dubious, says Renya. Dubious for Manisco. Authentic for the previous one. Yes, Ronan. Dubious for Julia. Dubious for Vitali. Questionable for Victoria. Dubious for El Billy. Dubious, says Ronan. So let's look at these. We were very implausible. No, the diaries were implausible. Questionable, says Yasmin. Okay, iffy. We were iffy. No, we weren't iffy. The diaries were iffy. The food was very iffy. But we weren't iffy. If we were iffy, we seemed like dangerous criminals. We were questionable. So if we are questionable, no, the diaries were questionable. The diaries were questionable. The diaries were iffy. The diaries were implausible. The diaries were fishy. The diaries were suspect as well. If you look, questionable, suspect, fishy and iffy and implausible, these are all talking about the diary. We were very suspicious. Yes, we were very dubious. Yeah, we were very dubious about this. Shan. We were very doubtful. Yes, Lando. We were very doubtful, exactly. We were very dubious. It began at 11, Patricia. It began 15 minutes ago, P. Yeah, kosher and Hitler is the mother of oxymorons. We were very doubtful from the start. We were very dubious, very sceptical. Good word, Renyard. Yeah, so we were dubious, but the items were questionable, suspect, iffy, fishy. Okay. We had historians like Professor Trevor Roper, and they are all I don't like this at all. And they were. Looks better. All assured. Believing. Convinced. Trusting. They are genuine. We were on the fence. Yes. Convinced, says Lando and Vitali and Firdabs and Elbilly and Keyword and Julia. No, iffy was not the right one before. No, the diaries were iffy, Maurits. We were dubious, Maurits. We were dubious. We were convinced, says Nadia. They were assured. They were all assured they are genuine. But they refers to the historians. Reliable. Okay, the reliable, yes. Oh, Patricia, let's see. So they were assured. This is saying that people guaranteed to the historians. And no, the historians guaranteed to us. The historians assured us that they are genuine. Convinced, says Renyard. Convinced, says Victoria. Convinced, says Linda. Yeah, they were assured by other people. They were convinced. We were all sure, and they were all sure they were genuine, yes. Okay, so, iffy, no. Dubious, Patricia, dubious. The experts, were convinced. Hi, Philippe, lovely to see you. So they were all convinced. They assured us. They were all agreed. Yes, Yasmin. They were all agreed, definitely, that they are genuine. The handwritten journals flowed, ran, hide, fitted from 1932 to 1945, covering the entire period of Hitler's Third Reich. I assured you that I will finish my project by Friday. Good, Julia. Ran for Philippe, ran for Vitali, ran for Lando, ran for Maurits, ran for Firdavs, ran for Nadia, ran for Yasmin, ran for Julia, ran for El Billy. Okay, flowed. No, water flows. Traffic flows. Ran for Ronan. They fitted. No, this is trying to make them fit. To hie. Hie is to go from one place to the other. Hie thee hither. Come here. Okay, so to go from one place to another. Ran for Linda. Continued from. No, because continued up until 1945. But they ran from one to another, from one place to another. Hide, infinitive to high. To go, it's an old-fashioned word meaning to go. I hied to work. So they ran. They spread. They spanned from. Yes, they spanned 19. Yes, that would work definitely. There are 60 diaries. They look a bit like school exercise books, but with a hard cover. They have hallmarks, stamps, badges, seals outside with a swastika and an eagle. And inside, of course, Hitler's very spidery Gothic handwriting, Wickman told the BBC. Hie yourself. Hie yourself over there. So, hallmarks, says Firdavs. They were convinced that, or they were confident that? Convinced. They were convinced that. Confident is less certain. They were convinced that. Seal, says Nadia. Stamp, says El Billy. Seal, says Philippe. Seal, says Lando. Stamp, says Manisco. Stamp, says Victoria. Stamps are more common inside books. Yep, you're absolutely right, Maurits. Outside. Whoops. Okay, sorry. They have the. Why? This is in the wrong place. The bracket is in the wrong place. I don't know, Patricia. I think I'm getting your answers. So stamps for Renyard. Julia says stamps. El Billy says his daughter says seals. Okay, hallmarks are for gold and silver, and they go to prove that the tax has been paid and the purity of gold and silver. A badge is what you wear that says save the whale. Ran, says Patricia. Good, Patricia, that's the right one. A stamp is just something flat, whereas a seal is something that's raised. The stamp goes inside and is flat, and on the outside you have a seal. Very often you would have sealing wax with a ring, and you put your ring into the seal. It's the seal. It could be stamps outside, but seals, it makes the whole thing sound more impressive. She's right, El Billy. So they have seals outside with a swastika and an eagle inside. Stern, why? There we go, sorry about that. Okay, Stern believed that their discovery had the potential to rewrite, rephrase, recast, redesign what was previously known about the Nazi leader. So, seals it was for the previous one. It could have been stamps, but stamps inside and seals outside, very definitely. So, to rewrite, says Philippe, rewrite, says Nadia, rewrite, says Victoria, rewrite, says El Billy, rewrite, says Firdabs. Rewrite, says Julia. To redesign is to use a new design, to change the design. Rewrite history, says Philippe. Rewrite, says Yasmin. Rewrite, says Manisco. What was the previous one? Seals. Seals. Okay. To rephrase is when a student doesn't understand something, I rephrase it. No. Maybe you had to break the seal, or maybe they were just stamped seals on the outside to show that they were authentic. It could be that they were sealed and you had to break the seal, but I think it's on the outside something with sealing wax, and it's got the symbol to show to make it look impressive. Had the potential to be rewritten, says Vitaly. Yes. Okay, to rewrite history, as Philippe said. Okay, rewrite what was previously known. And the diary's content was certainly mouth, eye, mind, brain opening, revealing a little known sensitive side to the Führer. Good Maurits, good Julia, good Firdabs, good Dawit. Well done, Dawit. Mouth watering. I love it. Mouth watering. Eye opening, says Victoria. Eye opening, says Philippe. Eye opening, says Yasmin. Eye opening, says Renyard. Yeah, your eyes open because you're surprised. I'm glad you're with us, Patricia. Eye opening, says El Billy. Eye opening, says Manisco. Mind opening makes you think more, but no. Mind blowing, says Firdabs, is good. Eye opening, says Nadia. Mind opening makes you think. Brain, a touch gnarly. Brain opening. Rewrite an eye opening, says Linda. Good. Mind boggling. Good. Emblem. Escutcheon. Yeah. Escutcheon is normally a keyhole. Eye opening, says Ronan. Kosher mouth-watering Hitler diaries will help to rewrite history. Brainstorming. Okay. Eye opening. Okay. That was an eye opener. They detailed everything from Hitler's battles with flatulence and halitosis, and the pressing, the force, the pushing, the strain, the pressure from his girlfriend Eva Braun to get Olympic tickets, to notes about sending Stalin, the old fox, a birthday telegram. Halitosis is bad breath. Halitosis, bad breath, yeah? Brainstorming, okay. The pressure, says Dawit. Pressure, says says Vitali. The pushing from. El Billy says pressure. Lando says pressure. Maurit says pressure. To recast somebody in a new light. The pressure from Nadia, pressure from Julia, pressure from Victoria. Bad breath. Pressure from Philippe, pressure from Yasmin, pressure from Ronan. The pressing, says Manisco. To rephrase, no, to rewrite history. Pressure from, urging. Halitosis. It's understandable in everyday speech, but you just say bad breath. Pressing issues. The peer pressure. Okay, pressing issues. Okay, so I think the pressing, the pushing would both fit, but the pressure is a much more natural sentence. Yeah, pressing issues, definitely. Okay, and the notebooks also seem to indicate somewhat startlingly, strikingly, unsuspectingly, flooringly, that the Nazi leader was unaware of the Holocaust that was being carried out in his name. The government should address the pressing issues as a first priority. Strikingly, says Vitali. It works well. It was just a joke. No, it's serious. Strikingly, says Victoria. Firdab says strikingly. Lando goes unsuspectingly. Nadia says strikingly. El Billy says startlingly. Strikingly, says Julia. Strikingly, says Renyard. Strikingly, says Dawit. Strikingly, says Manisco. Okay, if something is flooring, it surprises you very much. It knocks you to the floor. I was floored by the size of the bill. It meant that I fell to the floor. So, look at this somewhat. Let's see. Okay, this is very interesting. I'm going to have to give an ice cream to El Billy and his daughter. Somewhat startlingly. Your page just froze. Somewhat startlingly. Because somewhat strikingly, either something is striking or it's not striking. This is a true story. Yes, it's a true story. They paid millions for it. Hi, Firdabs. So either something is striking or it's not. Somewhat unsuspectingly, no. He bears a striking resemblance. But a somewhat striking, no. Flooringly, surprisingly, somewhat startlingly. Yes, somewhat startlingly, somewhat surprisingly. Because notice, this is somewhat, a bit. And I think something is striking or it's not striking. Something is flooring or it's not flooring. Okay, last one and then we'll stop. the journals had supposedly been disinterred, exhumed, unearthed or excavated. Mouth-watering was not what I was going to chip in with that. Glad I injected a bit of levity in the proceedings. Yeah, that's cool, Vitaly. Strange. So, Vitaly goes for unearthed, Philippe for unearthed, Firdavs for unearthed, Elena for unearthed. Unearthed for Manu, exhumed for El Billy, unearthed for Julia, exhumed for Manu, exhumed says exhumed for people, unearthed says Lando, unearthed says Alex. Exhumed or unearthed might both work metaphorically. Disinterred for hutched. I don't know. Unearthed says Nadia. Excavated for harvest. No. Unearthed says Renyard. Excavated artifact. Dug out. I was thinking about dug out. Dug out works quite nicely. The answer was unearthed, because we very often use this verb to unearth, meaning to find. You exhume a corpse. You excavate an archaeological site. You excavate a hole. You disinter a body as well. Disinter a body. Or exhume a body. Startlingly. Yes, Patricia. Well done, Patricia, with startlingly. You unearth something, you discover it. So something is unearthed. It is discovered in some hidden place. The others are more about digging up dead bodies. Disinterred. If something is interred, it's buried underground. So unearthed. To unearth is to discover. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to stop there. The committee disinterred a few old studies done by their predecessors to prove their point. I will give you the source URL right now, Philippe. Unearth a way to another planet. I suppose so. So, let's see. Next stream is on Thursday, which is the 5th of June at 3:30 p.m. UK time. Right, let me get the link for this. Here it is. Here is the link. So, thank you all for coming. I need to thank you all as well. Yes, that's live. So, thank you to Alex and Dawit. Thank you to El Billy. Thank you to Elena. Welcome, Elena. Thank you to Firdavs. Thank you to Julia. Thank you to Lando. Thank you to Philippe. Thank you to Manisco. Thank you to Manu. Thank you to Maurits. Thank you to Nadia. Thank you to Patricia. Thank you to Renyard. Thank you to Ronan. Thank you to Victoria. Thank you to Yuri. And thank you to Vitaly. It's been great having you all. Thank you to Yasmin. Okay. It was startlingly. You started with startlingly. It's been fun. I'm glad you all enjoyed. So, take care all of you. Have a great day, and I'll see you all on Thursday. So, bye for now.